Well, Stephanie, it's this is a point where we like to kind of transition to kind of our formula for the show and just go through the questions we like to ask every guest along the way. And so the first question we always like to ask everyone is what, in terms of a miss that may have come along in your career at any given point in time, and what you might have learned from that along the way.
I have so many, but I'm going to pick one that I think is fun for listeners, hopefully, and maybe looking back on it now, I can laugh. So when I was a state representative, this is where you might laugh. I really think my best achievement, 14 years in office, was clearing the way for stronger alcohol beer in Georgia. So I introduced the bill that enabled higher alcohol content beer to be sold. Prior to that, beer in Georgia was capped at a 6% alcohol content. So all of the breweries in our state that are so wonderful, all of these lagers and porters and different brown ales, anything other than your basic Miller and PBR was not available in Georgia. I tell that background because that bill took me 8 years to pass. And the very first time I introduced it, I was a freshman legislator, and I was so naive. And looking back on it, I was pretty young. I was 32 years old. I introduced the bill. I got it through committee. It's on the floor. I got my rear end kicked. That bill went down in flames. I had people going to the well of the legislature giving impassioned speeches about how this bill would get all of, if we had this high octane beer in Georgia, we were getting teenagers drunk. We were going to increase accidents on the highway. I had all of the religious advocates saying that they were, that we are pro alcohol, we're pro drinking. I mean, it was just, I was kicked to the curb. It was a terrible defeat. I remember going in the ladies' room and just bawling. And one of my mentors in the legislature came in and she had me wipe my face with some Kleenex. And she said, "Don't ever let them see you cry." She's like, "Get out there, you put your shoulders back, you walk high, you will live to fight this another day." And I introduced that bill again. 2 years later, we got defeated again, but not as bad. And then 2 years after that, we finally got the bill through. Here's a lesson I learned: do your homework and get your allies and know your votes. So if you're going to take a big move, if you're going to do something that hasn't been done before, if you're going to do something that might evoke some controversy, I'm not saying don't do it, but prep yourself first. Get your allies on board. Understand the opposition. And after that experience, anytime I had a controversial bill, I would identify the legislator who I thought was going to be my strongest opponent, and I would sit him or her down and I would say, "Can you just talk me through why you don't like this bill? What are your objections?" People generally love to share. They like to talk, especially politicians. So they would tell me all of their objections. I would write them all down and I would spend a week going through every argument and preparing my counter. And that's how I got controversial bills through. After that, I didn't lose a bill on the House floor. It was the only time. It's because I did my homework. And if it wasn't going to pass, I didn't bring it on the floor. So that was a tough lesson learned, but ultimately I did prevail. It was not hard, or no, it was not without a lot of work. It took 6 more years after that to get it passed, but it did pass. And you know what? We have a great beer industry in Georgia.
Yeah.
So I'm
Wow.
really proud of that.